Hi, this is Carlos Samaniego, and today I'm actually interviewing Elizabeth, the spouse that I talk about in my book, How to Make the IRS an Offer They Can't Refuse and Stop Hiding from the IRS. And we did this, Liz, we actually did this 10, 15 years ago in San Diego. We actually had our daughter Bella recording us when we did this. This time around, here we are in Sedona, Arizona, and we're celebrating our 20th anniversary, not only marriage, but 20th anniversary close to how long it was when I finally resolved my tax debt. And I thought it'd be great, 20 years later, to ask Liz some questions about kind of what she was going through, because I always talk about what I was going through when when I went the 8 years not filing my taxes, when we started dating. We dated for approximately 2 years before we got married. And during this time frame, for those of you that don't know the story, I never told Liz about my non-filing, that the IRS, I hadn't filed my tax returns. I owed a lot of money to the IRS, the state of California. Hadn't really kind of discussed that. But on the day we got married, I probably started realizing right away is that here's what's happening. I'm getting married to her. And for those guys or other spouses, doesn't have to be the guys, one of the spouses that have tax problems, when they marry you, you marry into those tax problems. They become your tax problems. And I wanted to ask Liz some questions. I got a series of questions here, so I wanted to ask her. So Liz, nice to have you here. Beautiful sunny day. We're at, what is this, Bell Rock? Trailhead. We're sitting here just talking, enjoying the beautiful weather. So Liz, just tell me, when you found out about the non-filing, how did you feel about that?
Scared.
Scared.
Yes.
Tell me more about that.
Well, I mean, for a person who always filed their taxes on time, I mean, I'm just by the book. That's how it's always been. So not thinking to ever ask those questions of my future spouse, So when you told me after we got married, it was a big shock. And then my first question was, so what are we going to do? And thankfully, you had that answer. You did have that answer. But again, it's such a scary feeling, because you just don't know, like, how big is this debt? How much is this going to cost to get us out of this trouble? So
Well, it's interesting you said that, and I love that you said that. A lot of times, and this is for either one of the spouses, the reason you don't say nothing because you're afraid that you're going to be rejected, that they're going to let you go. Obviously, that was my biggest fear. Probably why I didn't tell her is like, if I tell her this, she's just going to leave me. And she said something big there that's really important. She said, "How are we going to figure this out?" She already took it as her problem. So if you're listening to this, the spouse that loves you, wants to devote their life to you, there's a very good chance they're just going to say, "How do we figure this out?" Now, Liz, the other question I had, what scared you most about me having this tax problem? I know you kind of just mentioned it, but what was the biggest scare?
how's it going to affect me? Again, how much is this? How much is it going to cost to get us out of this trouble? How much debt is it really? Do you really know everything?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So just that whole unknown was very scary for me. I've never had this experience. I just figured everybody filed their taxes on time. I never thought anybody didn't file their taxes and was afraid to file their taxes because of that scary bill that just keeps accumulating with penalties and interest and
Right.
the notices that keeps coming to them. And yeah.
Yeah.
So
And Liz is talking a little bit now from experience of helping other people. But, as somebody that's dealing with this, you just don't know what's happening. We know now, now that we help people that, the debt's accumulating on a daily basis. We know they can come after your bank accounts. They can come after your job, your wages and things like that. But when you don't know, and that's why me and Liz talk about this, we do a triage on somebody where we file a power of attorney and find out everything that's going on so we actually know what's going to happen. That way we're better able to protect you. Liz, what hurt more, the IRS issue or the secrecy?
I could say both, but probably the secrecy, I think, because when you meet that person that you want to spend your life with, you figure that they're going to just tell you everything up front, and there's not going to be any secrets, going into a marriage. It's just definitely not the way you want to start things off. So, yeah, not knowing, not being told.
And good news, here we are 20 years later, celebrating 20 years of marriage and actually have a business where we help other people deal with this. So my next question, Liz, what changed when we faced it together for you? What was the big change when I guess when I came to you and not only did I tell you, but I also said there was a plan. So what changed in your head?
I felt a lot more at ease knowing that Carlos had a plan. I mean, I didn't know what it was until, he sat down and he explained everything to me and how it was going to go. And so I trusted him. I put my trust in him because I just married this man and I knew, there's always a way out. And we just had to, just keep being positive about this and just know that there's a way out. There's always a way out.
What would you say to a spouse who just found out? Obviously for us, I came to you and told you. I know we've had situations where spouses have found, unopened letters from the IRS of the other spouse, and that's how they found out. What would you say to that spouse who just found, they could be watching this video and literally just found out that their spouse has either unpaid taxes or unfiled returns? What would you say to them?
Well, I'd first want, you to talk to your significant other about that, just kind of get a little bit more information, try to see, what notices, what do they receive, just start asking questions, especially if you're the one that's had the perfect credit, the filing was perfect, it's just, you just did everything the right way. And then, just try to find somebody out there, that can help you and your spouse, get this resolved.
Preferably us, since we've gone through this. But
Yeah.
but kind of along this line that you're saying that, spouses will find out and they'll try to, usually here's what I would imagine, and I'm pretty sure it happened with you. You're angry, you open that letter and it says levy notice or unpaid taxes. And you're probably want to go to the spouse, but you know that, and I know from being the spouse that had the tax debt, they're gonna get really defensive really fast. Don't worry about it. I got it figured out. How should that spouse come to him? Because I guess there's a balancing act of, okay, I want to come to him. It's, would you approach it a different way? Kind of that initial conversation. Just think about it. You just opened up that envelope and saw, what the heck is this?
Right.
What would you do there? It's a tough one, I know.
It is a tough one. I mean, I think, obviously you're just going to be taken aback by opening something, and then you're going to have to just don't be on the attack, because you know what? They know, your spouse knows what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of time when they know that you're going to find out, and they can't keep it from you for any longer. So, you know what? You just have to be able to talk about it in a calm manner with each other. And you know what? Again, just figure out a path to just resolve it. Yeah, and work together, because, it's a scary thing. It is a scary thing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, it's a tough one. And, along that lines is that, you may want to just take a deep breath when you first open that notice. And, it's kind of what you're told, when something gets you really upset, your kids get you really upset, or somebody, maybe don't do that initial, what the hell is this reaction? Maybe take a deep breath, go out for a drive, go get a cup of coffee, and then just come back and just pick an appropriate time to, sit down with your spouse, say, hey, I'd like to talk to you about something. And I think that's kind of where I would go. It's just like, because I know when Liz says we need to talk, I know something's wrong. That we need to talk.
Everybody knows that one.
Yeah, maybe don't do it right before bedtime. That's not going to help at all, because you can't do nothing about it. But that morning, say, maybe on the weekend morning, say, hey, I need to talk to you about something. And then just bring it out and just, and let them know, just say, you know what? I want to help. I want to help in this situation. Let's just sit down and talk. I found a couple, Carlos and Liz, that specialize in helping other couples deal with this. And it's kind of appropriate. It's Valentine's weekend, right? I just realized it's Valentine's weekend. We're filming this. What helped, and you probably answered this, but what helped rebuild the trust?
Just knowing that we can be open, your spouse or your significant other can be open and be able to, just be honest, lay it all out for you. And that, I think that's
Yeah.
pretty much it, right?
Yeah. What would you tell other couples who are avoiding this?
Don't avoid it.
That's a big one. And I love it. It was simple. It's just don't avoid it. It's so simple, but so strong. The hardest thing to deal with a tax problem, the hardest thing is just to admit you have one and say, I need help.
It doesn't go away. It
That-
doesn't go away. It might go away for a month, 2 months,
A
and
year.
a year, maybe 3 years, but it's still gonna be there and it's not going away.
Yeah. I always tell people the IRS didn't forget about you.
No.
They did not.
Mm-mm.
Their automation, their AI now that they use to keep track of people
Mhm.
is so powerful, it's not going to go away. Yeah. Wow. 20 years. And, here we are 20 years later. We've actually been helping people with their tax problems since 2017. Liz was the catalyst to push me to start helping other people solve their tax problems. She's a co-founder of Tax Debt Consultants. And, I thank you for kind of pushing me to do this. It's a hard job. It's a stressful job.
Yeah.
It's stressful because you know what we do? We take a lot of that stress off of you because we want what's best for you. We're not this big, massive company with hundreds of salespeople trying to sell you on something you don't need. Our job is to help you resolve your tax problems in the most efficient manner. And, I'm looking forward to 20 more years. If I'm still doing this in 20 years, oh my goodness, I'll be 77
have to go
years
there.
old.
We don't have to go
let's
there.
not go there. But thank you for joining us. This is just a real talk on Valentine's weekend from Sedona. We're just taking a deep breath, enjoying our journey here. And I'm so happy that you were able to join us. Thank you.
We'll see you later. Hope to see you soon.